So this is a trigger warning for this video. This is a challenging video. This is speaking on what women are going through in these forced birther states. We're talking about medical misogyny, and we're talking about what women and girls are going through in Afghanistan. These are some tweet threads that I have found, but these tweet threads need to be highlighted. All right, join the conversation. Like I said, this is a challenging one. I just wanted to do a trigger warning at the beginning of the video. Okay, so this man named Ryan Hamilton shared this post from Trump. Trump says, everybody, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, and conservatives wanted Roe v. Wade terminated and brought back to the states. Like Ronald Reagan and myself, most believed in exceptions. Now the people are voting, which is the way it was supposed to be. I do not limit access to birth control or IVF. That is a lie. These are all false stories that she's making up that I've never even heard of. It's just words coming out of her mouth. I trust women also, and I will keep women safe. She won't, because the invasion of our country at her open borders, destroying the lives of women, women, and the families and jobs of African Americans and Hispanics. He just types stuff. It's so wild. But I will say to this, Trump, everybody did not want Roe v. Wade overturned. We didn't. I am a part of everybody, and I can tell you, I did not want Roe v. Wade overturned. That is a lie. He is literally just saying things. He's literally just making things up. When Ryan shared this, he shared it with this caption. Yeah, you terminated Roe v. Wade, sent it back to the states, and Texas almost unalived my wife. As far as I'm concerned, you have blood on your hands, Trump. I will continue to do everything I can to keep you out of the White House. Hashtag abortion is healthcare, hashtag repo right. I had shared Ryan Hamilton's tweet a while ago. He posted this back in May. I'm going to do it again because it is important to know and understand what happens in these forced birther states. These states don't give a damn about women. They don't care about babies. They just care about controlling women and pushing off their theocracy as law. All right, let's get to Ryan's post. I'm going to do it again. This is his pinned post. It says, my heart is broken. As friends and family know, my wife was pregnant with our second child and about to begin her second trimester. A few days ago, she had severe pains and bleeding and had to go to the emergency room. There, it was discovered that our baby no longer had a heartbeat. Devastated doesn't come close to what that feels like. Unfortunately, for people like us, because of the current laws in the state of Texas, that was only the beginning of this nightmare. Jess, my wife, had an incomplete miscarriage, and what needed to happen was what was best for her and her health was to terminate the pregnancy and get the baby out. The doctor gave her a medication that would move this process along and sent her home, where apparently we would be handling it ourselves. We were told it might take a couple of attempts before it worked. I'll let you decide how you feel about that. After a long, painful night at the equivalent of early labor, the baby was still with her. So we went back to the emergency center to get the second dose. A new doctor was on call. He was an older man. You could hear him in the hallway as he said, I'm not giving her a pill so she can go home and have us an abortion. Being well aware that our baby no longer had a heartbeat. Then he came into the room to say, and I quote, considering the current stance, I'm not going to prescribe you this pill. Then just sent us on our way. The current stance. Did he really just say that? No one should ever have to hear their wife say, get this dead baby out of me. Can you even imagine how that must feel? The pain and the bleeding continued. So we decided to go to another hospital about an hour away. There was a female doctor on call there, and we thought we might have better luck. I should probably mention the procedure to get the baby out is called a DNC. It's scary and traumatizing, but sometimes necessary in situations like ours, especially in emergency circumstances. We get to the next hospital. They take Jess in, ask her a bunch of questions, do a new scan, confirm that the baby is still in there with no heartbeat, and then disappear for hours, only to come back in and keep asking the same questions over and over. It's becoming clear that their primary concern is not my wife's health. Instead, they seem to be worried about the legalities involved. So they decide it's not enough of an emergency to perform the DNC. They do, however, prescribe another, stronger, final dose of the medication for us to try again at home. So we go home to try again, another long day and night of early labor pains, only to discover my wife unconscious in the bathroom, having to pick my wife's cold, limp body off that bathroom floor, not sure if I was about to lose her, is something I will never forget. She had to be rushed to the hospital. By this point, she had lost so much blood and bodily fluid, her body gave out. They were able to stabilize her, give her the fluid she needed, and we came back home yesterday afternoon. We were also able to confirm that our baby was no longer with her. Now, not only do we have to live with the loss of our baby, we have to live with the nightmare of what we just experienced because of the political and religious beliefs. My wife's health should have come first, period. God knows what mental and emotional damage this has done. If you consider yourself a staunch pro-lifer, you've never been through what we just went through. And you should take a long, hard look in the mirror and reevaluate your reasons for supporting such a cold, barbaric, ignorant point of view. It's not that black and white. It's never going to be. And if you think your pray to end abortion sign in your yard is Christian, I suggest you revisit the teachings of Jesus and try again. If you support these laws that makes abortion illegal and result in people being put through what we were just were, you should be ashamed of yourself. I've never been so angry or heartbroken, and the devastation I'm feeling must pale in comparison to what my poor wife is feeling. I hate that the women have to be a walking womb for an unviable pregnancy because of these forced birther Christo-fascist people that think that their religion should order the steps of other people, regardless of harming a woman, even if a pregnancy isn't viable. This disgusts me, and this is why I despise these people, and I hope that they go the way of the dodo bird. So these are some of the comments on Ryan's post where he shared Donald Trump's post. A relevant Buffalo says, Texas didn't almost unalive your wife. Donald Trump didn't almost unalive your wife. If your story, as you tell it, is accurate, then an incompetent medical team almost unalived your wife. Yes, it was the state of Texas. It was the state of Texas because this is what they wanted when they changed these laws to make doctors second guess themselves and put legalities over the health of women. And Donald Trump is responsible for this as he brags about overturning Roe and sending it back to these forced birther states. This person replies saying the medical team was not incompetent. The doctors and hospitals are avoiding giving emergency care due to fear of arrest, fines, loss of license, prison times. The bans are barriers to giving needed care. And then this person posted this ProPublica article. I do need to go back and look at this one and see if I've actually done that one. And then Irrelevant Buffalo says, have you read the Texas law? It's pretty clear to me, and I am neither a doctor nor a lawyer. The hospital not only has the duty to know the laws, but they also have the resources to seek any necessary clarification. People look at these doctors like they can do no wrong, but the doctor has an obligation to know the law. If he or she can't, then they should not be seeing patients. I have dealt with dumb AF doctors in a slightly different but just as dangerous scenario. Okay, so he's just still blaming the doctors, not the laws. I'm going to ignore the rest of this. Selena is honing on the part where Donald Trump says, I will keep women safe. And she said the rapist. Slowly Boiled Frog says, Donald lies. No one other than Christian conservatives wanted Roe overturned. No one. Jack of all trades says, hilarious. Trump is a private citizen and Biden was the president when this happened. Okay, but that is ignoring that the Supreme Court was stacked with Trump and his presidency. So this is kind of a silly take. Anyways, let me know what you think about this post. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Let's talk some more about medical misogyny and how these hospitals and doctors don't listen to women until a man comes in and speaks. So this woman is a neurologist, as it says in her name, neurologist mom, but even she was ignored. Okay, she says, I remember the time when I gave birth to my daughter. They had to keep me in the hospital for 10 days because I wasn't feeling well. Every time I tried to stand up, I fainted. At one point, I even stopped breathing, according to my husband. He panicked and called a friend who was a cardiologist. The friend's response was, sometimes our wives just want attention because they're going through a hard time. My husband got angry and insisted that someone be sent to check on me. When the resident came, my husband simply said, "Just watch." He helped me stand up, and I don't remember what happened next. When I regained consciousness, I saw a room full of doctors around me, all in a panic because I had stopped breathing again. That's when they realized it wasn't just an attention seeking move. Why am I telling you this? I'm not sure. Maybe because I feel that many women, especially those with chronic and complicated illnesses, have had similar experiences. If you want to share yours, quote this with hashtag medical misogyny. The thing is, sexism and racism are baked into the cake of this country and in the medical field and in many fields in particular. I mean, in general, that's just what happens in this patriarchy that is built on oppressing people and not seeing the humanity of others. Period. And so we have to tell these stories. We have got to tell these stories. And it's heartbreaking that so many women don't get listened to. So don't be a woman, especially a woman of color, and you get pushed off because, you're just overreacting and, you're just want to be complicated. You want to have an attitude. That is how they see us. And you have got to be loud about it because they don't listen. But when you are loud about it, they act like you have an attitude. It's like you can't really win being a woman, or especially a Black woman that's marginalized in this country, globally, actually. Okay, let's look at some of these comments. And she continues with, even though both my husband and I are physicians, we experience this. I can't imagine what it's like for those who aren't in the medical field. Um, I can't imagine. And this looks like a white woman at that. So just imagine being a poor Black woman, or a queer woman, a disabled woman. Imagine that. Imagine how you're just going to be pushed off to the side and your humanity disregarded. The woman at the bottom says, every woman that I met on Ward 3B, a kid's cancer ward, had been sent away by their family doctor at least once before their child was directly diagnosed with cancer. This person says, we are often labeled with anxiety instead of being taken seriously. I mean, it sucks that they write it in their charts, but to outright make snide comments to our faces and treat us like we wasted their precious 5 minutes is ridiculous. Katie says, when I tried to get a diagnosis for ME, and I don't know what ME stands for, in the late 1980s, I wasn't believed. Pre-internet, I found an article on ME in a magazine that showed it to my GP, my general practitioner. She dismissed it as a woman's magazine. I was referred to a neurologist. He decided most of my symptoms were psychosomatic. So just in her head, she's just thinking all this stuff up. Afton says, my parents are physicians and I went over 20 years with undiagnosed celiac disease, just getting worse and worse. It's bad when your parents don't catch a diagnosis and they're physicians. Inside Out says, my first pregnancy, I had hyperemus gravida. I lost 40 pounds first trimester with dry heaves and bile. It was bad all 3 trimesters. I would be admitted for IV fluids. My OB said I was psychologically vomiting my pregnancy away. My second pregnancy, I was treated at a teaching hospital. Nana says I was a MLT at a med clinic and started feeling sick at work. A clinic's doctor saw me. He asked if I was really sick or trying to get out of work. My temperature was 101.7. Did a urine drip. It was a UTI. Got Bactrim. So women are just sharing their stories on this post, and it is ridiculous what women are going through here, but it's even worse in other parts of the world. I'm going to bring it to Afghanistan. This person named Shabna Nasimi says, women in Afghanistan are being obliterated. No voice, no face, no existence. The Taliban's latest decrees are nothing short of barbaric. Women banned from singing, reciting poetry, or even speaking aloud in public. Their faces and bodies must be hidden from the world. This isn't just an Afghanistan tragedy. This is a stain on the global conscience brought about by our failure to act. And in this picture, she's holding a sign saying, we want our human rights. Shabna continues with the UN conceded to their demands to exclude women from the Doha talks, and in doing so, empowered this regime. The global community's silence has enabled their brutal tyranny. Global leaders, through their inaction, are accomplices to this cruelty and the most extreme Islamist misogyny imaginable. The time for platitudes is over. We must stop the Taliban's free reign, impose strict conditions on any aid to Afghanistan. We must push for an ICC investigation against these atrocities, and we must issue warrants against Taliban leaders. Enough is enough. Afghanistan's women and girls deserve the right to asylum anywhere in the world and for the world to create educational opportunities globally. This is not just Afghanistan's crisis, it's the world's. This is gender apartheid. We must speak out, lobby relentlessly, and defend Afghan women and girls with unwavering resolve. It's time to stand by them in their fight for equality, for humanity. We must act. We must act decisively and immediately. What I can do is share the stories, but we have got to do something. I don't know what, but having a whole gender just wiped away, it's atrocious. I don't know. This is wild that this is able to happen on a global scale without this being an act of terror. This is femicide, and yes, they are actually deleting these women and girls. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.